Okay. KTT, new episode once every 2 weeks. This is episode 29. Before we get into the episode properly, I'm Drift. I'm joined by my co-host.
It's BlackStarXero. Just call me Xero.
That's how we're bringing in the energy this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Helps the algorithms, helps us, it helps you to like or receive the content. So, we're going to start once again with Daima.
Yeah.
It's finished. You feel me? Once
Episode
again,
20.
the talk of the town. Once again, the talk of the town. So, as a man that's not seen it myself, I do plan to watch it now because I saw Super Saiyan 4 in it. I said that on the last pod. You get me? I was like, I'm going to have to lay eyes on it myself eventually.
Right.
But until then, wagwan. You know what I'm saying? I feel like something in the last few episodes, because the last time we touched base on Daima was episode 18. You know what I'm saying? Super Saiyan 4 in question. So what in the last 2 episodes really ruffled some feathers? You know what I'm saying? Lay it down, like lay out for me.
Right.
Talk to the people.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
it's not so much the last episode, because Daima's only 20 episodes.
Right.
Right. It's episode 17 where we got Super Saiyan 4.
Super
for the
Saiyan
first
4.
time.
We
Right? That was
chef.
pretty good, and I kind of told you, spoiler alert, it disappears at the end of that episode.
Okay.
All right. Episode 19
Mhm.
was pretty much peaking, kind of peaked there. All right. So that had an excellent fight from Vegeta. That's where the Vegeta and Bulma meme come from now.
Yeah. Love that
Goku
shit.
goes 1,
Love
2,
that
and
shit.
3. Basically, I see somebody saying like it's basically this generation's version of Goku going Super Saiyan 3 for Bobby D and Boo.
Nigga, I said that. But yeah,
Was it you that said
yeah,
that?
Nigga,
All right,
I
cool.
said that.
But I've seen it in text. I've seen it in text as well. My bad.
No,
Not even trying to take away my
I'm just saying it's
my
good to
bad.
know. It's good to know me and the people that are in tune. You get me? You
Yeah?
get me? Go
All
on,
right, cool.
Go on, you were saying sorry.
So yeah, and then it caps off with Super Saiyan 4 turning up.
Uh-huh.
All right. So
Uh-huh.
he pops out Super Saiyan 4 as well, like as something extra. Didn't name drop it, but pulled it out there.
Uh-huh.
Then episode 20 happened.
All right.
All right. And that's where you're feeling this weird discontent within the community.
Talk to the people.
Right?
Talk to the
That's
people.
that's where it is. So again,
to the
your second
people.
spoiler warning.
Okay. And again, you were what? Second spoiler warning.
Yes,
innit? You
bro,
get me?
I am being
Go
very
take
generous.
in,
here.
go take in the 20 episodes if you need to, and then come. I'm no, finish this episode first and then do that. You were saying?
Right. So he pulls out Super Saiyan 4 in episode 20, 20?
Yeah.
19.
19.
Right. And then we get an amazing fight from Super Saiyan 4 Goku, adult, which is what we're calling adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku now for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
me personally, just call it Super Saiyan 4. You understand?
I'm gonna just call it Super Saiyan 4. Me personally, I ain't gonna lie.
You understand? Me
Yeah.
personally, just call it Super Saiyan 4. And then somebody goes, actually, which one?
Shut up, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Which one?
Well, actually, shut up, nigga.
You understand? You know damn well I ain't talking about the GT
You know
one.
what I mean? Man,
That's
talking about-
not done and dusted, but we know what GT Super Saiyan 4 is. We're talking about the Diamond
you
version.
niggas regarding GT though, boy. But yeah, go on.
Cool. So, excellent fight. Probably one of the best Kamehamehas I've seen.
If you had to
In a
rank it
long
1 out of
time.
10.
Huh?
If you had to give the Kamehameha 1 out of 10.
Boy, my favorite Kamehameha still
I'm
has to be...
never gonna go with your favorite, but like this one in
Yeah,
question.
no, I'm just gonna be like, so no, I'm just gonna give him my Baranta. So I feel like for my favorite as of right now is definitely the sliding Kamehameha. Right?
Oh yeah.
You understand,
yeah.
bro?
Basie,
I have
Basie.
not seen the light. My
Basie.
jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah.
Excellent Kamehameha from Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Right? And that's kind of where the problem starts.
The
So that's the
Kamehameha?
great, because the Kamehameha goes straight through Goma
Right.
and straight through Demon World 1, 2. Well, obviously they're fighting on 1, so it goes through 2 and to 3. So
Yeah.
there's a new path there, right? Goma's in this massive form, and obviously like that all looks great,
Right.
but it still doesn't take down Goma.
I'll Kamehameha through the abdomen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he has the fucking cheat code. Tertius Oculus.
Is that what it's called? The Tertius Oculus.
Yeah.
Tough name, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tertius Oculus or the third eye.
yeah, no, tough
Yeah,
name.
man.
But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so the Tertius Oculus.
The Tertius Oculus,
Mhm.
it keeps healing him. And that's largely been the problem. Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 would wash Goma. I feel like Super Saiyan 2 onwards
Mhm.
would wash Goma,
Okay.
right? And then he got even bigger and stronger. So Super Saiyan 3 would definitely take him up. But the problem is the stamina drain
Mhm.
versus somebody that's constantly being healed by the third eye.
Right.
So it
okay.
heals him and it kind of makes him stronger.
Yeah.
It heals him, and it kind of makes him stronger.
Okay.
So that's the problem.
Okay.
You understand? So you're not really winning that. It's gonna just outlast
It's
you.
very much like diminishing returns.
Basically.
Very much
You
diminishing
understand?
returns.
You output energy like they absolutely dominate this guy. There's no question.
From the clips that I've seen, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Whenever our boys get to boxing, we really are throwing hands and dominating the fights. You know what I'm saying? It's just body does always seem to like power up to some degree, and it seems like everything is for naught.
Right.
But yeah, you were saying.
So the way to defeat Goma, there's a specific way to remove the Tertius Oculus, right?
Right.
That was a plan set up in episode 19.
Okay.
After the Kamehameha, Piccolo goes to execute.
Right. Okay. Big green.
Fumbles.
Damn.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nigga.
Exactly.
No, bro. No, not Big Green, nigga.
Yes,
Mr. Dodge himself.
Yes, Mr. Green.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
Bro. You don't fumble a fucking fit pick though, do you, nigga?
Nah.
Man, but yeah, go on.
Cool. So,
Damn.
fumbles that.
Big Green, man.
Right? And then, do you know who Margin Ku is?
The like bronze-skinned-ish looking one with like the
lime
skin
screen green, yeah.
Yeah,
so the
like
slimmer
really,
one
really
with like the
slim one.
Cybermanish face.
Yeah.
Right. So,
New King of the Demon World, I believe, no?
yes.
Right.
I'll come to that.
Right.
Well, all right, cool. So since you kind of said it, that's why. Because he's the one that actually got the Tertius Oculus off Goma. So by virtue of the fact that whoever beat they decided whoever beat Goma then becomes the new ruler of the Demon World. And they were like, it wasn't me, Piccolo didn't get it, so it's you. I mean, cool.
So that's how did cool. Unless do you want to expand how exactly cool?
I try and like be as vague as possible for people who actually want to see this thing and for yourself as well.
Right.
You understand?
Appreciate
so that's
you.
why
Appreciate
you understand? So that's why I didn't mention. But if you want me to like spell it out, you have to hit him in the back of the head 3 times. That's how you remove it. So just tap the back of the head 3 times and that removes it. Right?
Dragon Ball shit, not gonna lie.
Right. Piccolo gets 2 hits in and then gets clobbered.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's how he fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
Ku now snuck up on him and whacked him in the back of the head with a book 3 times. And that removed it.
And that, by virtue, makes Ku the new Demon World King.
Right.
Okay. And that's what has people kind of feeling away regarding.
Right, because that's kind of an anti... Well,
first and
that's
foremost,
not the actual ending of everything. There's still a bit more, but...
Okay,
yeah.
go on.
So, I'm not going to give you, like, basically the play-by-play for the whole episode.
Yeah.
The long and short of it is, Gloria then destroyed the Tertius Oculus, so it's like, oh, well, that's a source of power that nobody's going to get. Like, understandably, you can see, like, that's a bad idea in the wrong hands, but it's destroyed. Come to find out that it isn't. It's just something any rando could buy if they can afford it.
Okay.
Problem 1. And problem 2 is the fact that Goku said after Buu he trained a lot. Vegeta basically calls him off for Super Saiyan 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, you hit a transformation from me. And man's like, well, yeah, after Buu I trained a lot because he was really, really strong. And he felt like there was something there, but he couldn't quite get to it, so I never basically helped him get to it. You understand? So he was already working towards Super Saiyan 4, basically. So obviously the existence of Super Saiyan 4 itself already called into question where Daima fits within the broader, continuity. So that and this is where that dirty word comes up. I like to say that, this dirty word, canon.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it messes with what some people call canon. Right?
How?
And from my understanding of it, it's not really canon you're talking about. You're just talking about continuity.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, that's a very good way of looking at it. You know what I'm saying? That's a very good way of looking at it. It's not necessarily canon, it's a continuity.
Right. So the events of Daima fucks with the continuity for Super. But there's enough in Daima to tie it to Super.
Fucks with the continuity of Super how? Like if you're cognizant of the arguments being made.
All right, cool. So I'll give you low stakes and then I'll point out larger, right?
All right.
Low stakes. Kibito Kai unfused during the Battle of Godzak.
Facts.
Yeah, so he told you, asked you what, the Namekian dragon to unfuse them?
Yeah.
If I recall, it was the Namekian dragon they asked to unfuse them. They're unfused at the beginning of Daima. So at the Bulma's party 1 year later, when Trunks turns 9, they're already unfused. Yeah, so they went back and I'll leave how they unfused for you so you can enjoy that bit. But basically, they unfused, and at the end of Daima, they remained unfused.
Okay, so what this lane of thinking is one that I've recently started to actually give a lot of credence to.
Right.
This, to me, kind of speaks to the idea that Daima might lead on to an ending of Dragon Ball Z that doesn't actually lead to Super.
Okay, so we're saying it's a different timeline.
In very, very much in how like people
Fair
argued
enough.
for the existence of GT when we got the Super Saiyan 4 reveal in Daima. The instant, like the way that most people rationalized it was, okay, cool, it just means it was a different timeline. Like the ending of Z that led on to GT is just different to the ending of Z that we got here that leads on to fucking Daima that we thought led on to Super. You get me? Whereas with the inclusion of this information here that I don't feel like you fumbled, you get me? This can only mean that Daima itself leads on to an ending of Z that does not lead to Super, because it quite literally cannot. You get me? Like, there's stuff in Super that Daima just kind of outright contradicts. You get me?
Right. So that's the problem. But again, like I said, it directly shows you, like, so all the Kaioshin, when they were talking about like the Kaioshin and the creation and everything like that, it directly shows you the man them from Super.
Okay, I mean, that's fine.
You understand? So it ties itself to Super.
So when you say directly shows, as in like because it shows you like Gods of Destruction or whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing again. So the inclusion of that scene may not necessarily mean that it's still not an ending that doesn't lead on to Super. You know what I'm saying? Because hypothetically, stay with me now, even if we're not in the Super timeline, in the GT timeline, right? Kibito Kai is fused, but Kai, Supreme Kai is still alive in that fusion. So we can postulate that there is a God of Destruction Beerus in that universe. You get me? Not one that we interacted with, of course, in the GT timeline, not one that Goku and the set interacted with.
Right.
But we can postulate that the God of Destruction Beerus exists in that universe too. You get me?
Right.
So even if the ending for Daima doesn't lead on to Super, them showing you Gods of Destruction or whatnot doesn't necessarily mean that it's not an ending that doesn't lead to Super, because Gods of Destruction exist in all timelines. You get me? Since their inclusion, it is obviously kind of stated that they always exist. You get me? We just hadn't been cognizant of them before, like Battle of Gods. You get me? So that's why I'm like, that's.
I mean, I feel like that's a weird kind of mishmash.
I mean, okay, cool. So I'll explain it again, right?
Right.
Since the inclusion of things like Gods of Destruction,
right,
what sense would it make for them to only exist in one single timeline? Doesn't make sense.
No. So we as the fan just read in.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, so we as the fans, like you just said, we as the fans just read in
that Beerus is still asleep.
Beerus would still be asleep, and like Beerus exists in every like timeline that we like to create, like the GT timeline, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Beerus still exists, and the Gods of Destruction still exist on all of those timelines. It's just in those ones we don't interact with them as much. You get me? So within that, even if the ending of Daima that we got now doesn't lead on to anything that we know to be Super,
right,
Gods of Destruction still being shown as like just a design choice isn't the furthest thing from fucking reality, because they exist in all timelines. You get me? That is the implication there. Since their inclusion in Battle of Gods, it's not that it's not like they only exist in one timeline, the Super timeline.
So you're saying Daima is basically its own continuity now, yeah?
Based off the information that you've told me, it's the only way to reconcile Daima still somehow being linked to Super, because I'm like, you've literally just detailed it to me yourself like 5 minutes ago. You get me? Like, that's a very law-breaking little piece of continuity. You get me? So I'm like, the only way to reconcile that piece of information with what we understand to be Daima, you get me? It's its own timeline. It's the way that people rationalized GT. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, niggas instantly cut GT off from being like the ending of fucking Super and by extension Z, and called it its own timeline the minute we got Super Saiyan 4 in Daima.
Right.
You get me? So they were just like, cool. The only explanation that we can explain for GT is that at the ending of Z that we got, that led on to GT, that is not the fucking timeline in which Z ended and leads on to Super. Right. You get me? If that lane of thinking is one that we're going to start subscribing to going forward.
Again, that's even a weird thing in it, because all the Super takes place before the actual ending of Z. You understand? So all of even
and again. But like even if you take that into account, it would have to circle back to the discussion we were having at the fucking inception of Super Saiyan 4 in Daima. You know what I'm saying? It's like lore destroying. You get me? The idea that GT's timeline is its own thing actually makes it like kind of easy to digest, because if not, long before we get to this like headache, we still have to revisit and actually unpack that headache. You get me? Because the means by which we saw you get Super Saiyan 4 in GT is distinctly fucking different to how you got it in Daima. And in GT, you had you didn't mention knowing that you had access to fucking Super Saiyan 4, that you were working towards it in any capacity. You get me? Like you clearly detailed in Daima.
Right.
So that's why I'm
and it's just something you just boss out as well, so you could access it then. Yeah.
If we're looking at how he had it in this one, both things cannot be true. You get me? So that's why I'm like, the idea that cool, if Super Saiyan 4 exists here in Daima in how he got it as we saw it, then how he got it in GT cannot also exist in the same timeline.
No,
it has to be its own thing. You get me?
Yeah.
And with the inclusion of information that you've told me here, you know what I'm saying? fucking them man being split fuse, for example, is such an easy way to look at it. You get me? Because they're still fucking split. You know what I'm saying? So how can it then, like, how can they have been defused in the method by which we were told in Super? It can't be. You get me? So if we're gonna subscribe to the idea that GT is just a fucking ending for Z that led on to GT's timeline, it's not the furthest thing to imagine that might be what they be trying to fucking imply with Daima. You know what I'm saying? With what Daima did.
The other aspect of it is that the ending did kind of feel like not definitive. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I meant. Like Daima kind of peaked with episode 19, highest rated episode I think. And then the final episode still pretty good. Like I said, the fight at the beginning great.
Yeah.
The wrap up was very rapid. You know what I'm saying? So new demon king on the way home, and then once the credits finished, or just before the credits finished, I forget where you find out information about the Tertius Oculus that any old Joe Schmo can buy it, just so long as you have enough cash.
I'm not gonna lie to you. So that little inclusion, I know it's done for like a funny aspect, kind of annoying. Kind of
You understand? I'm like,
kind
bro,
of annoying. You know
what
what I'm
the
saying?
fuck are we talking about? Like,
I get like it's Dragon Ball Z for you, and as a Dragon Ball Z fan, I kind of know.
And also, they're taking back Bulma's taking back a bunch of the weird bugs that Goku found. So like the fusion bugs, they're taking some of them back, and a bunch of other shit.
Cool. So, but the fucking eye that made Goma somebody that could rival or at least throw hands with our niggas doing something that can just be bought casually is, I know, an in-world joke. Like it's like a joke on fucking the viewers and shit. Kind of annoying though, because it instantly undercuts the significance of the fucking eye and everything that I've seen up to now. You get me? I just don't really care for it as much. But don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna watch Daima and I still respect it for what it did.
Right.
You get me? But I just feel like you are gonna kind of be remembered as the series that raised more questions than you ever gave answers.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, and then the fact is now we don't have Toriyama to kind of like clarify anything. And from just watching like other videos around like production.
Stay there. Is the idea of Daima Toriyama, or is like the entire story of Daima Toriyama?
Neither.
Neither?
That's exactly what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
So I'm like watching more videos around just the production. I think it's Iyoku's creation. And then they brought in Toriyama as you do to kind of like supervise and so on. But Toriyama just kind of like really loved the project so much he got full blast invested. Okay. So that's why there's so much Toriyama involvement in this one. But the conception, the idea and all that, that wasn't Toriyama.
Okay. So I will say that the future of Daima is looking more questionable than the future of Super. I'm
exactly.
Gonna lie to you.
You understand? So, well, as I said, it wasn't Toriyama's brain baby specifically.
Brainchild, yeah.
You understand? But it was Yoku, so if there's any way to kind of follow up, it probably would come from him to the best of his abilities.
I mean,
you understand?
So far though, with what you set up in just implications, it doesn't speak to a nigga that cares about the continuity of Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? Because you've introduced things like, this is no shade to the work itself.
Again,
it's cool to watch.
Toriyama signed off on all of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Toriyama signed off on all of this. You get me? So I'm like, Toriyama signed off on all of this, but like you correctly said, this was what's his gentleman's name? Iyoku. So this was like the concept for it, like the story, this was your idea. You get me? And this isn't me laying the blame at anybody's feet, but I'm just saying you've introduced more like implications for the like continuity of Dragon Ball than you've given answers. You get me? Because now it genuinely is hard to look at Daima as something that leads on to Super. And again, everything I just said, that's not me definitively saying, hey, I believe Daima is its own timeline. No, until I have more concrete proof. You get me? It's just, if you had a gun to my head and you asked me to reconcile the information that's in Daima and also marry it to what I know to be Super, the easiest way for me to do that.
You can give you some hand-wavy ass arguments. It's through magic and it doesn't have it anymore, so we can't access it.
And between giving it its own timeline or giving me some hand-wavy shit like that, what would you prefer? Me personally, give my own timeline. Some hand-wavy shit like that would piss me off. It would piss me the fuck off. I'm sorry. You're telling me all of that just got hand waved on some magic off-screen shit? That would piss me off, because now you've done the work of the service. 20 episodes of it for what? Bad boy fight scenes for what? For you to like say, hey, you know what? Off-screen was hand waved, we're at Super now. Nigga, that would piss me off. Not gonna lie. You get me? So you either figure out a way to fucking marry it to Super in a way that makes sense, which isn't my job. I didn't set this shit up. You did.
Well, you know but that's the thing, innit? Like, so
you have to figure out a way to do that.
That feeds into the next bit now with obviously AF, right?
What the fuck?
Huh?
What the fuck?
Yeah, so Toyotaro apparently was the one that created AF.
AF.
Yeah. So Super Saiyan 5 Goku.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like,
right. So now you have Ultra Instinct with the white hair and Super Saiyan 4, from Daima,
yeah,
Super Saiyan 5 fights Black Frieza.
I
don't know how much stock I put in that one,
is that what niggas want?
I mean, I've seen enough man talking about it. So
How do you feel about it?
Huh?
How do you feel about it?
It makes sense that it's something you could do, and it's a logical way for him to get to it rather than her, I part beyond Super Saiyan 4 and I've hit Super Saiyan 5 now. You understand? It's a marriage of two separate things. So like when Super Saiyan 4 first came about and we discussed, it represents, to me at least, the pinnacle of what Saiyan biology, is. So
very
that's
much
the maximum.
Very
right?
much so, yeah.
And then you marry that Super Saiyan 4 now with like Ultra Instinct, which is derived from like God Key.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So now you'd have like a white-haired Super Saiyan 4. So I can see it if
it's
that's
feasible.
what you want to go with.
It's
boy,
feasible.
But,
It's feasible. I'll give them that.
Yeah, man. So he created it, and it's like, hey, here's a way I can like make this canon too.
Would it be what I want to see for Super Saiyan 5? Nigga, I don't even know if I want to see a Super Saiyan 5.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I don't know if I want to see a Super Saiyan 5. Like,
I feel like you niggas might just want to like rock out with Mui, really, really get some mileage out of Mui, and just call it
and do Blue some service,
bro,
man.
and just call it a day.
You understand? And do Blue some service.
Let that be the peak form. I'm not lying to you. Like Mui being the peak form makes all the fucking sense in the world.
Thank you.
Even more so because it's not a race locked ability. You get me? So it takes some of the spotlight off the fucking Saiyans. You get me? Because you know it, I know it, the viewers know it. You get me? Dragon Ball Z is the Saiyan show. You get me? Cool. So some shit like that, like Mui takes the spotlight off just Saiyan biology and like their abilities. You know what I'm saying? Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, let Mui rock out as the strongest form achievable to a motherfucker. And I have like play around with the forms we already have. Really flesh those forms out. You know what I'm saying?
That's
really
that's what I'm saying. Yes, and like, listen,
I don't know if
get some more versatility, not versatility, utility from Super Saiyan God.
Some of the other
Blue.
forms, some of the other forms, nigga.
We don't use 3 anymore. We know why we don't see 3 all that often. The stamina drain ain't justified apparently. Right?
But then
so you might have been working to master 2.
Yeah.
So more 2. If you can't do 2, you go God, and then Blue if you need to, and then you pull out True Ultra Instinct, which is where we at now.
Mm-hmm.
And then if True doesn't really cut it, then you go full Ultra Instinct.
But this is the thing, you can't call it True Ultra Instinct and then tell me it doesn't cut it, nigga. What's above True?
Mastered.
So what's above? Wait, hold on. So there's True and then Mastered.
True is basically the new version of Omen.
Okay, cool. Say nothing. Would you? I feel like, so don't get me wrong, I knew that. Like, I knew the forms, but I always got mixed up on like which one is True and which one's Mastered. You get me? But yeah, cool. Kind of let Mui be the strongest form for niggas, like just for people to achieve as a whole, because it takes the onus of those fucking Super Saiyans. You know what I'm saying? And Saiyans as a whole. But do kind of flesh out and have more fun with the forms that we already have, because it does feel like we're spending less and less time with some of the other forms. You get me? And I'm not, hey, listen, man, give the new forms their shine. That's kind of why I'm saying what I'm saying, actually. Give the new forms their shine. Like, really flesh them the fuck out. We had time to really rock out Super Saiyan 1. You know what I'm saying? 2 and 3, you know what I'm saying? You get me?
Maybe.
Like,
we
Super
got a
Saiyan,
good fight with Frieza, right?
And
then
the
we come
movies,
back,
nigga.
you got Frieza, Mecha Frieza.
And the movies, nigga.
Huh?
And the movies, nigga. There's Super Saiyan in them movies. That's what I'm saying.
Alright, cool.
Super Saiyan in the movie. You know what I'm saying? So we got mileage out of Super Saiyan. 2 and 3, you
I
get
mean,
me?
I'd say fucking... Alright, so Blue, by that virtue, doesn't need anything, because Super is just Blue all the way.
So that's what I was
Until
saying.
we got to
I was
Ultra
about to
Instinct.
say. I was about
You
to
know
say,
what I'm
like...
saying? God,
when,
you could
I
do
was
some
gonna
more
say,
with that
when
one.
we're
but
talking
Blue
about
don't really need it.
when we're talking about forms that need to get like fleshed out, I'm not really talking about Blue, because Super is kind of
Blue needs some wins. That's what Blue needs.
give me fucking mastered Blue. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do anything with Blue, give me like a trading segment where he gets the actual mastered fucking Blue form in the anime. You get me? Do that, and that way I don't ever need to see Blue take any kind of dumb L's ever again. Because like that's my issue with Blue. You be in Blue form getting hold in ways that I don't understand. You get me? But that's fine. Cool. Yeah? Super Saiyan God, the base one, yeah. Show me a bit more of that. Let the nigga actually flex with that a little more. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever you get to like Super Saiyan one God form, he get nice with the hand throwing and the dodging and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You feel me? Just, I don't know if I want to see a Super Saiyan 5.
Yeah.
At least yet. Anytime soon. You got me? Not gonna lie. I don't know if I want to... Me? I ain't gonna lie to you. A nigga like me, I'm gonna need you to really flesh out like the scope of how strong this new Super Saiyan 4 is. Because it's now in a world where gods and shit are a thing. You get me? So how strong is this Super Saiyan 4 form? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We need to properly scale.
So
that.
I was saying that Super Saiyan 4 exists in Super.
I mean, if Daima leads on to Super, do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see where I'm going? I'm like, if Daima leads on to Super, the continuity, there are so many questions that you'd have to ask yourself when you go back and watch Super, and you'd be like, it just doesn't make any sense. I have to suspend the fuck out of my belief just to make this make sense. Like, coming off the fact that this is following from Daima. I have to suspend the fuck out my belief.
Give me a Daima movie.
You get me?
Turn it back to kids again.
Like, nigga. You feel me? So that's why I'm like, boy, when I say give it its own timeline, that's me giving you an easy out. You get me? That's me giving you an easy out. You get me? Because there's no other feasible way for it not to be a fucking arse pool, kind of hand-wavy, stupid kind of methodology to kind of justify Daima leading on to Super. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not impossible. You can very much just hand-wave it away with, like, magic or some shit, but that will never be a satisfying fucking resolution. You get me to the question?
So you can't access it without magic abilities, basically.
Like, boy. You get me? And that's what I mean. You get me? That's what I mean. You feel me? If Daima does lead on to Super, if they want to use
the Dragon Balls to wish for it, I wouldn't be against it. Piccolo's done it. Granola's fucking done it. I don't care anymore.
Like,
anyway, different discussion.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. Once again, Daima dominated like pretty much the entire pod.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, pretty much the entire pod. But, alright, cool. So now in closing, you know what I'm saying? As somebody that watched Daima from start to finish, you know what I'm saying? You waded through all of the fucking hate comments that niggas were fucking levying at it in the early days, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of wade through all of the fucking bullshit that niggas were throwing at it in the early days.
Yeah.
Final take. You know what I'm saying?
Final take?
Yeah, like, if you were to explain Daima to another nigga, like, good, bad, mid, you know what I'm saying?
So,
good offering, bad offering, what's up?
On this very pod, you've heard me speak at the beginning negatively about Daima, because I was not enthused about the whole turning them back to kids and all that kind of shit. Facts. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am still enthused about that kind of shit.
Okay.
However, what Daima gave us, what it done for, like I said, lore, in terms of the Dragon World, awesome. Right. Namekians got so much love.
That they did. I'll give them that.
Namekians got so much love.
In recent times, you man have been getting a proper look in, and I like that. You get me? Continue.
Find out more about the Supreme Kai, and we find out that, more about the demon realm itself. So the world itself again expanded beyond just,
which is something that I've been asking for in regards to the Dragon Ball universe for time. So love that shit.
So, you also got some amazing fights, some good fights. You understand? From just like some basic
whatever
good
fight
scenes, like Goku versus like a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah, some
skirmishes. Then we got a really decent fight, Goku versus Tamagami 3, Goku versus Glorio.
Pretty much anytime them boys were like anytime them boys transformed, it was a good ass time. Boy.
Exactly. You know the animation for it,
crispy,
absolutely fucking
crispy.
Gorgeous.
I'll give it that. I'll give it that. Even if I'm not somebody that watched it from the start, crispy. The
in closing, Daima's a good series. I would recommend it to anybody.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I would recommend it to anybody more than I would recommend GT to anybody.
Okay.
You understand? Like, that's just my take on it. I enjoy Daima far
Expand to
more.
that why though? Because I don't believe you've ever told the people, like, in a piece of like an explanation, how you feel about GT. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about GT?
So, GT's kind of weird for me because obviously I spent years and years and years just like in the Toonami death loop rewatching episode of Dragon Ball, because you get to a certain point, end of Vegeta, the Saiyan saga, start again, and middle of the Frieza saga, start again, end of the Frieza saga, start again. Cell, and then we get to Buu, and where it really capped off for a while for me was like Vegeta brought himself up against Buu. Like for the longest while, that's as far as I've ever seen in thingy. But you'd see like these little weird pictures of Super Saiyan 4 Goku and all that kind of stuff. So I had some knowledge of GT without knowing what GT was. Get to GT now, and it just didn't feel like Z in any kind of way. All right? And you can really chart up to the first 19 episodes, which is just them going across the universe and,
the fucking galaxy tore apart.
Right, the galaxy tore apart, which is just dead. Right? And even though Daima had something similar, it was a more fun adventure, really. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't have Pan. I know that might ruffle some feathers, but there was nobody on the set just being annoying as shit.
Kiss my fucking ass, bro. You can white knight. You can be the biggest white knight you want, bro. Yeah? You are lying to yourself if you do not believe Pan's character isn't fucking asinine for like the first maybe, like you said, 19 episodes. You know what I'm saying? For like the first 19 episodes, Pan's character is fucking annoying. Like, I'm sorry, down that hill if you want. If you think Pan's character is good in those first early episodes of GT, down that hill if you want. But yeah, go on.
So
yeah. Fucking your thoughts on GT.
So, yeah, you had like the first 19 episodes, which just were bleh, right? And then you come to the bit now with Baby. So this is where the machine mutants come in, you know, Real Do and all them, man. Yeah. And it kind of picked up there, you know. It kind of felt kind of felt good, but not quite.
Yeah, we weren't quite there yet.
You're not quite there yet. You know, then we get to the actual Baby fights. It was saying for us there, and that's great. You understand? So it's like some of the shit just didn't feel right. So even like the Super 17 stuff, while I enjoyed that, overall I didn't really care for the arc. Okay. You understand? Because most focus is your focus kind of just on Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Super 17. Like, what else happened there? Do you remember?
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I remember. It's just you wouldn't really give a fuck.
You understand? Like major fights that happened outside of that.
The setup to lead up to fucking the creation of 17 was very rapid. You know what I'm saying? And that setup itself isn't very interesting. You get me?
You understand? Yeah. And then we get to the Shadow Dragons now. And mixed like bag. I said before,
mixed bag.
Yeah, for like the last maybe 3 dragons are great. Everything else for that just kind of dead. If you just enjoy like Freak of the Week shit, then that's fine.
Monster of the Week type shit.
Yeah, like that's fine. But the last 3 dragons, so what is it? Nova. I forgot the cold one. And
Nova. I don't know. Nova.
Yeah, so Nova, the cold one, his twin brother, and like Sin Shenron. You understand? That bit was great. Seen Super Saiyan 4 go Gita, and then that was very brief. You understand? So it's like, you know, but I respect the ending you got for GT. You understand?
I like you touching on
that. I respect the ending you got for GT. Man, you know, saved the world, and, you know, Krillin came back. You know, they got to bring him back finally. Went and said his goodbyes and, you know, kind of went off, and then you got Goku Jr. and
they
Vegeta.
give
you know,
you
the
a
legacy
whole
content.
montage,
You understand?
bro.
So, like,
they give you a whole montage of Dragon Ball all the way up to GT and the last episode. Busting, not gonna lie.
You're right. So you understand? So you had that little nice and neat tidy one. If that, you know, that I like. But overall, there just wasn't that much in GT that I enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? So Super Saiyan 4 onwards was more enjoyable, but even then, not everything about like the subsequent arcs were great.
Like
you know
not everything else around it was necessarily great.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So for me, when everybody else was like, you know, what's the best thing about GT? Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, I think
most people would say the same thing. The best thing about GT Super Saiyan 4. And that's the problem with that with GT. You know what I'm saying? With Daima bringing it back, I enjoyed the adventure a lot more. You understand? Like the sights and all that kind of stuff. You didn't linger anywhere for too long.
Okay.
Necessarily.
Would you say that was perhaps towards the credit of it being only 20 episodes long?
Possibly. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some slog episodes. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, so after the hype, what was episode 13, and then we go on break for Christmas. And then you come back with episode 14, and that was fucking boring.
All right.
You understand? So Daima isn't like super perfect or anything like that.
Yeah, no, by no means. No.
You understand? It's much better to me. You know
fair enough.
The adventure, the journey was much better.
I feel like that's a good way of describing it as well. I can't lie, because both of them are very adventure heavy. You understand? Like there is like a
you only
have
3 together in Daima. There's 7 in fucking thingy. You understand? Just pop, and you're good.
Yeah, and again, I feel like that's kind of why like you might feel that way. You get me? Because the Galaxy Tour part of fucking GT is hard to get through, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like hard to get through, bro. But yeah. That's my thoughts. Well, my man said my thoughts, bro. It's really me just bouncing questions off you regarding Daima. You get me? Yeah. That's been Zero's thoughts on Daima. You get me? You feel me?
Yeah, my thoughts on Daima.
There's been Zero's thoughts on Daima. This has been KTT episode 29. And again, if you've been tapped in up to this point, appreciate you. Catch you in the next one. I've been Drift.
It's your boy Xero.
Love.